Not me. Thanksgiving's
We
my
didn't,
holiday.
we didn't pass, the full board meeting, we didn't pass that Hallmark one, Mike, did we?
No,
No, yeah. Gosh, no.
No.
I hope no.
Be interesting to see how that plays out.
yeah,
Yes. I wonder if there's any updates.
Talking about licenses, I was saying the one thing I don't like is when people lie to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everything else. I
seriously,
can listen
acting
to.
in bad faith.
recording and live streaming,
Yeah, but we're not.
so we're ready whenever you are. Tom?
Okay, why do I have this Adobe Acrobat? Okay, got it. All right, welcome to the December 19th, 2024 meeting of Business Affairs and License Committee. My name is Anton Melmer, and I'm the chair of the committee. Tonight, we are joined by Community Coordinator Brian Lafferty. Meeting we will call to order at 6:36 p.m. As a reminder, New York State law requires all committee members who are not able to attend the meetings in person to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. Members of the public who are here in person, you can raise any question that you have by raising your hand. If there is time following the committee discussions, we will field questions from the public. I need a volunteer to take minutes.
Oh dear.
Okay,
That's a sign.
no, it is not.
Okay.
There's.
My notes
no
are
chance
really
of-
bad. And
That doesn't mean you should do it, it means you should get practice. It is one
Thanks,
of the, no, but it is, it's one of the critical roles. Brian will send you many materials that will make it much easier. Have you ever done it before?
I did,
Yeah,
I failed,
I doubt that,
I failed.
no.
I can try, but I do get wrapped up in the conversation, that's the problem.
Well.
Okay,
Okay, for the record, who's taking minutes tonight?
Michael Ann. Anton, remember my name, please, Michael Ann.
Okay, we'll not take attendance by roll call. Brian will conduct the roll call.
thanks, Anton. Committee members, I'll call your name. When your name is called, please say present. I'll announce if there is quorum. Paige Judge,
Present.
thank you. John Keller.
Present.
Thank you. Anton Mulner,
Present.
thank you. Ann Seligman,
Present,
thank you. Susan Steinberg will become later. Michael Ann Rowe,
Present.
thank you. And Sarah Whittington and Justin Goldberg. Also not attending. With 5 of 8 members, we have a quorum.
Thank you. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and is reflected on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from the September 26, 2024 meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there's no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the minutes, please raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the September 26, 2024 meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB6 website. The minutes from the October 24th, 2024 meeting and the November 21, 2024 meeting are being reviewed. They will be shared with the committee when they are ready. Okay, some ground rules. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members who are here in person, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. Committee members unable to attend in person, if you have a question about committee business, you may raise your hand through Zoom and I will identify you so you can speak. All committee members, it is extremely important that only one person speaks at a time so that the members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said by each committee member. The chat function for committee members present via Zoom should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Get tonight's agenda. Item number 1, cannabis retail dispensary license for Tor Hammer doing business as First Love at 271 First Avenue. Is there a representative for First Love available?
On here. Unless they are in the attendees, in which case they could raise their hand. Hands raised.
Well, that's simplifies things,
That
right?
makes things, okay. But for the record, let it be indicated that no representative for Hammer doing business First Love, 271 First Avenue was available to make comment or to answer questions. Item number 2, cannabis retail license for 1320 East 223 property, New York City, Bronx LLC, doing business as to be determined at 352 East 23rd Street. I believe they've contacted us earlier this afternoon to say that they would not be able to attend and they don't have an executed lease available for review. And this should be tabled until next month's meeting.
Until both of those things.
Yes.
That's right.
And table till next meeting.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Questions so far? Number 3, roadway cafe license for Epsilon 493 Corporation doing business as Blue Haven East at 493 3rd Avenue. Is there a representative for Blue Haven East available?
Yes, I see, Megan Joy.
Okay, kindly identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Megan Joy.
Scott Cohen and Dearma Joy.
And you are owners, representatives, attorneys?
We are 3 owners of Blue Haven East.
Okay, now you're applying for a sidewalk license,
The street seating.
street seating. Now, I did a little Google search and I see that you do have sidewalk seating currently. Why are you asking for sidewalk seating now?
I thought you
No,
said,
no, no. It's
you said
roadway.
roadway.
Well, I wrote, all right.
That's
I'm
what you said
sorry.
in the beginning.
So you have sidewalk seating license now?
No, and we don't have any seating on the sidewalk.
Maybe it's the wrong place.
I'm a little confused because I said I did the Google search and I saw sidewalk seating in front of your establishment.
That was just the COVID seating and it's gone now.
Thank you. Okay, tell us about the roadway cafe you're trying to set up.
It fits within the standards of the city. I'm not sorry, I'm not sure what you want me to describe about it.
What is it?
It was approved by the application was approved by the city.
So.
Yes,
I do have a question about it. Isn't this location, once upon a time before the building, the construction happened on 34th and 3rd, there used to be a bus stop there. And I think, I can't remember the name of it, but there's a restaurant that's gotta be right next to you that had a roadway cafe.
Yeah, that's called a fuck.
Yes, the Flying Clock, yes. And my concern is that the bus stop never got moved back there, which I think is really problematic because 34th Street is such a major cross stop. And so if you put this in there, like, they'll never put the bus stop back. And I think that's problematic. And I think it's also, I'm concerned with the whole containerization push, which I think is also incredibly stupid. How are you gonna work with those two issues?
The garbage containerization.
Yeah,
We went by the plans that we were given, that's an approved plan by the city. I think your argument is back to the city, not to us. We spent $40,000 on that piece.
trust me, we have pushed back on them a bit on this as well. But
There's no point
So-
pushing back on us now and saying, hey, I don't like the look
no,
of
I'm
it.
just saying, like, where are the containers gonna go if you've got a roadway,
Mhm.
if you've got a roadway cafe there?
Well, I think they would go on the sidewalk.
Are
No,
Are you
buildings-
talking about trash cans?
I am talking about buildings with more than 6 units will have to have 24/7, basically dumpsters in the street.
So we store we have the containers and
Yeah.
we've been mandated to have them for,
For
I
the
don't
last
know.
like 2 years?
So
Almost-
your units, but you don't have units of, you are not operating in a building with more than 6 units?
We keep them downstairs. We store them downstairs in our basement and we only bring them up at night when the garbage goes out. And then we put them
And
down.
that's like a rational approach, but what DSNY is saying is that once, I don't remember what the date is, but it's buildings with more than 6 units will be,
There's 6 units in that building. There is not more than 6. There's
And their trash cans are around the corner.
great,
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
And the bus stop situation, which is below you guys, there are 0 businesses facing on the street on that bus stop. There's 0 restaurants. So I don't understand why moving a bus stop 1 bus length up and wiping out 5 outdoor businesses
Yeah, a
would be
block.
great for
a
small
block.
business.
You know what? If you're 85 years old and wanting to get to the 34th Street crosstown, it is not trivial. Just saying.
Okay, I'll take your point there. Can you just move the camera to the left? And it is 1 bus length that they're talking about moving where the bus stop was. It's a bus length. If you brought it all the way up to the corner, no, that's the 33rd Street corner. Now turn it to the left and let's look at the south side of the 34th Street corner.
Do you think there's space to put a bus stop in there?
Yeah, keep turning around. Keep going around. Most crosstown buses, when they meet north-south, they are always north of the intersection.
That
The
is
argument by
off
the city here is that the Midtown Tunnel is too close.
tunnel, right?
I got you, but can you just go back up to the
Why the
34th?
stop used to be at 34th Street.
Yeah, can you just go, but it wasn't, it was halfway in the block. That's what I'm about
Yeah,
to say.
yeah, it's exactly where you are, basically. That's why I'm raising the issue.
If we could just turn it around and get it up to the corner. If it went all the way up to the corner, 4 of those businesses would still be able to have outdoors.
And you know what? And they could put a leading bus lane in, a bus lane.
See what that
Yeah.
car, they could put the bus lane, they could put the bus stop right there, which is closer for the 85-year-old people to get to, which is
Yeah.
where it should be. And the bus would go there, and the only place it would take out then is the Flying Cock, and the Flying Cock has some outdoor seating, but the other 4 businesses would be able to put out outdoor seating.
And if they put in a leading bus light, then the bus could make that turn and get around the traffic, around the tunnel traffic. So we'll take that up with another committee.
It just,
Yes.
we've tried to bring it up a few times, and it's never been listened to. Thank you for listening to us about it, because and when I say they're talking about moving the bus stop, they're moving it 1 block north back up to where, not 1 block, 1 bus length north. That's all it's done, is to go bus length north. If you went 2 bus lengths, you'd be on the corner of 34th Street on the south side.
Yeah. And that makes more sense to me.
Yeah,
So-
same.
Same with us. Can we ask a question? If the bus stop was moved to the corner, and if we have the same approval that we have from the roadway people, would we be able to come back to this committee and get the licensing part of it?
We
We don't,
I
we
don't
don't
have to
approve
use it.
licenses.
No, I don't feel like it's a
No.
problem for you to get it now, because honestly, I'd rather have you guys be in business, because getting DOT to move that bus stop. That
That's not gonna happen.
that could be till I'm 85.
So, okay.
Yes,
Okay, hi, my name is Michael Ann. So they've just recently taken out all of them, is that correct? The road cafes?
They have
Yeah,
to.
everything's gone, yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
the
everything
future.
is gone now, right? Well,
Yeah.
you know, I think I just took some video, once again, of how congested and how hard it is to get through exactly all along your space and the two on both sides of you. It is so congested. People with wheelchairs have had a hard time. We're talking about bicycles that are out of control as we know it, pedestrians. It's really tight there. So I'm surprised they actually gave you another license, but are you planning on, I noticed you have those stools out there. Are you
We're not allowed
planning?
to have the stools. That was all from a COVID time. We're not allowed to have the stools on the sidewalk at all. This is just for roadway seating. Roadway.
Yeah, there won't be anything on the sidewalk.
I'm just, you know, I just feel like it's such a congested area that, I don't know, I guess they still.
It's a very small sidewalk. I mean, there's a couple of trees that cause more problems than anything else.
Exactly. Which I'm surprised you're allowed to plant something there so close to trees or even on top. of trees.
We would love to.
I'm not in the tree planting business. That was,
I
I mean,
am.
you can see the size of the tree there for a while. I'd be happy to plant plenty of trees elsewhere. But, you know, when it's a bottleneck, it's usually, and you probably see when it's people in wheelchairs, it's when we get deliveries, our hatch opens up. The tree is
No,
right.
it's
kinda
like
a-
regular, everyday, Sundays. You know, it's a traffic area, but hey, listen, you already have your license on it, you know, and here we are talking about congestion pricing, and I don't feel like there's room for cafes on Third Avenue. That's just my opinion.
Well, weren't they talking about traffic calming the whole of Third Avenue, like from
Yeah.
23rd Street all the way up to 34th Street?
Yes.
Making it
Yes.
only 2 lanes of traffic and one whole lane of bus lane and 2 lanes of bike
Yeah.
lanes?
Yeah.
I don't know who's talking there, but do you disagree with that? You prefer
No,
not
no,
that?
no,
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 she's, yeah, they have been talking about that.
But the lady just said that she doesn't see where you should have any road cafes on Third Avenue. So I'm just asking. You
If they were
disagree?
If they were to revamp Third Avenue, like we've seen some teasers of beautiful designs for Third Avenue, it would be really nice. But that's not happening anytime soon.
right, I think,
Do you know why that's happening?
they could be there for years before the
Right.
DOT,
Yeah.
acts with any kind of alacrity.
And this is gonna be there, you know, 6 months a year, not all the time.
Okay,
When is the license date for?
It's the 1st of April to the, I think it's the
30th
30th
November.
30th of November, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
all right, do I hear,
Call the question unless there's further discussion.
do I hear a second?
a second.
Yeah.
Do we wanna make a motion? No objection?
No
No
objection,
objection,
excuse
yeah.
me, motion of no
No
objection.
objection. Okay, one moment.
What's the committee that we should talk to about the bus stop on the corner?
That would be transportation. And you're welcome to do that, but, it's something we can handle kind of within the board as well.
Okay.
Nice.
I mean, even if there was a feasibility study done on it, I think it would be interesting.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Well, especially because that's where the stop used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, We have, a motion's been made and seconded on our resolution recommending approval for a roadway cafe license for Epsilon 493 Corp. Doing business as Blue Haven East.
Is it approval or no objection?
Objections.
For
No,
the
it's
DOT,
approval for,
Okay,
because that's the way the form is. It's either approval
Okay.
with modifications,
Or no.
Okay.
Approval.
Okay.
So, it's approval for roadway cafe license for Epsilon 493 Corp. Doing business as Blue Haven East at 493 Third Avenue. Whereas Scott Cohen, Norman Joy, and Megan Joy, principals, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on December 19th, 2024. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the dining out NYC license application process. Whereas, the committee doesn't have comments about the cafe's physical footprint and dimensions.
They seem to be following the DOT to the
Yeah.
letter.
Okay. And the committee doesn't have comments about pedestrian flow. Or, well, I mean, there were some conflicts with existing curb use, but it sounds like we'll consider that at a later time. At a different committee. Now, I don't know if there's any members of the community that have any comments. So they raise their hands.
No.
I don't see any hands raised. Okay. So no members of the community had any comments for or against. There's no modifications. Come out. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on December 19th, 2024, pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the above referenced application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representative to the committee. So when I call your name, please answer in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Page start.
Abstain.
Thank you. John Keller,
In favor.
thank you. Anton Malmer,
In favor.
thank you. Ann Seligman,
in favor.
thank you. Susan Steinberg is not here at the moment. Sarah Whittington is not with us this evening. Justin Goldberg is not with us this evening. Michael Enroe,
In favor.
thank you. With 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 abstention, and 0 not entitled, the motion passes.
Okay, thank you for appearing with
Guys.
us. Good
Appreciate
luck.
it. We'll talk to DOT and we'll maybe come back to you as well. We'll see.
All right,
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Good.
All right, here.
Sorry, so I just wanted to interject, because the committee, if it does wish to take a position on the record, either in favor of the previous, cannabis, retail dispensary licenses, or on the agenda in, opposed to those, they would have. to
is it
do
a
so.
timing thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Potential.
right.
So, I do have draft resolutions for both of them, if we'd like to look at them, and consider them, that's, up to the committee.
I think just,
Can you tell us what the timing is on it? So next meeting, it would be too late kind of thing, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so, in the case of both, applications, we have 30 days, and we can request an additional 30 days, so for a total of 60. And so, the way that, the timing works out with the committee meeting and the full board,
And time,
we would
right?
have to,
It has to be now, basically.
yeah,
well, my feeling is that they don't show enough interest, show up.
Right.
I'm not interested in,
I agree.
Yeah,
We are discussing, I apologize profusely for being late. What are we discussing?
items 1 and 2 on the agenda. Neither, they're both cannabis retail dispensary license requests, but neither has shown up.
To me, that's a complete negative.
yeah. And one of them did not, in fact, have an executed lease,
Mhm.
though they said something about having
Right.
one, like,
So, yeah,
yeah, I can't support it.
I can't even.
And I see Paige has her hand raised.
Yes, Paige.
I think we don't even have to discuss this. One of the things we do on this committee, if people don't show up, we give a negative resolution to the fact we have no information to base any kind of decision on. I think to have to say, to have any kind of a discussion, it's not necessary.
Thank you, Paige.
Thanks, Paige.
You said we're going-
I'm sorry, if I may interject, just a distinction. The first applicant that is being considered, that is the case. Yes, they appear to be a no-show tonight. But the second one, I believe the one on 23rd Street, did tell us that they weren't coming. But as Anton mentioned earlier, they gave us one reason, and then we heard from the landlord of the building that they supposedly were going to rent, that landlord was not going to rent to them, which is a very different story from what we were told. We did offer them the opportunity to withdraw their application from us completely. They did not take that opportunity. But that does mean, though, then that the clock is still ticking. And so we cannot afford the time to consider them
So
next.
what happens if we just ignore it, Jesus? Yeah.
If you just ignore it, then OCM will consider that you have no comment on the application one way or the other.
However, if we address the fact that they, let's say for number 1, did not appear, was invited, we can
Well-
give a negative resolution.
I mean, I'm comfortable with a negative resolution based on the fact that they misstated whether they had an executed lease.
But that was number 2. Number 1.
Yeah, number 1.
Oh, number 1, yeah, if it's a no-show, like, I mean, number 2, if they said they told us in advance they couldn't come, like, I cut them a little slack for that, but on the other hand, if they don't have, like, that's a different thing, so I'm happy to do a resolution, a negative resolution on both of them, but for different reasons, which I think Jesus is where you're pointing us.
Not necessarily. I just want to make sure. I don't want us to characterize that second one as a no-show when they're not
Right.
technically a no-show. But
Right.
there does seem to be competing stories as to what's going on with them.
And if we table this for a month, that's gonna put them out of the 30-day extension period, right?
It will be a no comment.
Right. This with the extension, this puts the deadline at like the first week of February, which will still not, you will have had your meeting. You will have had your meeting, but there will not have been a full board.
Yeah.
Well, I think essentially the circumstances have hamstrung us from being able to approve both number 1 and number 2. And I personally would not feel comfortable approving either of them.
Neither. But
Brian, do you have a?
this whole thing with OCM though, and the way they look at it, what Jesus is saying, so where does that leave us? And is that another conversation about how OCM is doing?
Some other
We'll be
conversations.
talking about this chair's report and all the new business.
Yeah.
But
So-
yeah,
Brian, do you have a draft?
yeah, for both.
Let's start with the number 1,
Yeah.
please, get
Yeah.
that, that's the easiest, I think.
Yeah.
So I guess, is there a motion and a second
Motion of objection.
for?
Second.
Okay.
The cannabis retail dispensary license.
The tour.
for Denver.
Yeah,
So for my notes, what am I putting? We're going to go back and
review number 1.
Yeah, so pull that up. So, we have, a motion has been made and seconded, a resolution of objection for a new license to operate a cannabis retail dispensary for Tor Hamer / Green Nexus Dispensary Inc., doing business as First Love Dispensary at 271 First Avenue. So whereas Tor Hamer applicant was asked to submit a questionnaire and invited to appear before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 at its December 19th, 2024 meeting, as CB6 has jurisdiction of the premises in the license application process. Whereas the applicant did not appear at our meeting. And then whereas if the committee has any comments, they can choose to include them.
Yeah, I have one comment. It appears that the applicant is also applying for the cannabis retail license at a location in Community Board 3, which is less than 1,000 feet from where he is applying for a cannabis license in our district.
100, less than 1,000 or
Less than 1,000 feet, 594 feet to be exact.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Manhattan Community District 3. Which is closer than the 1,000 foot distance requirement.
wait, when did it become 1,000? Did I miss something?
There's 1,000 between
Oh, the
cannabis, between dispensaries.
dispensary.
In New York City, in New York
Yeah.
State.
Yeah,
The
but
rest of the state is 2,000.
you're gonna put in
Well,
500, it's 594, not one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You gotta be 3 feet, you know, to make a difference.
Okay, and I do believe that we have some members of the community with us this evening that have comments. If we wish to hear from them first before proceeding.
Have anybody?
If anyone wishes to speak on this, I think there is someone in the Q&A. Joseph Gambella, who wrote, the commercial property owner of 352 East 23rd Street has not granted permission for E223 property NYC.
Okay.
Oh, that is,
That's the second.
that's the second one. My apologies. Okay, so for the first application.
Brian, can you go back to that first whereas? It reads a little strangely.
Whereas Tor Hamer applicant,
I'm sorry, whereas it appears, I'm sorry, it's the one about the 594 feet.
Oh, yes.
Whereas it appears that the applicant is also applying for a cannabis retail dispensary license 594 feet in Manhattan Community.
That would be.
It says also applying for a cannabis retail dispensary license in Manhattan Community District 3.
Mm-hmm.
Comma.
That would be 594 feet away
From the
from
location above, proposed location in
Community District 6.
Manhattan Community District 6.
Yeah.
I thought it was CD4. We're CD4, aren't we?
No, we're 6.
No.
The district
Community board.
District
six.
or
No, that's
Council
for,
District 4.
yeah, council.
Okay.
Mhm. confusing.
Very confusing.
I know,
isn't it?
none of them
Yeah.
overlap.
Okay, which is closer, than the current 1,000-foot distance requirement, between dispensaries. And it's a little bit of
Away
a
from the dispensary.
mouthful.
Less than 1,000 feet away from another
And
dispensary.
then, yeah. As I said, if there's any members of the community here with us that wish to comment on the cannabis application, the cannabis retail dispensary for Torhamer Green Nexus Dispensary Inc. doing business as First Love Dispensary at 271 First Avenue. I think, yep, I see we have, oh, I think they just lowered their hand. Now a hand is right.
Sarah?
Yes, Sarah Bessick, let me promote you to panelist. You just have to accept. Okay. Sarah Bessick, you can unmute if you'd like to speak.
Yes, hi. I'm sorry with the controls. Just had a question really. Are you allowed to have an establishment like that so close to a school?
That's
So-
an issue we have been
Yes, I mean,
wrestling with.
No, is the answer.
well, no, but I mean, it's that how close and how do you measure the distance?
Is
And
it-
we are having a really hard time getting straight answers on that from
The-
OCM.
The rules
I
are,
looked,
the
I
rules are
looked
very,
up,
the rules
I
are
looked-
very, the rules are very specific about how far a cannabis dispensary can be away from a school. The thing that people remember the most is 500 feet. However, there are a lot of like accept. And so that is what at least in our district that is so dense, it's an impossible barrier to jump over. So the 500-foot essentially barely ever applies.
I don't understand. The legislation says, the statute says 500 feet in a straight line. That's
The regulations that were passed by the Office of Cannabis Management, however, say it has to be on the same street. The building has to be entirely a school. It has to be this, it has to be that, it has to be this.
Oh,
That's where the rub is.
oh.
Sarah, we have been struggling with this
Yes,
as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and Sarah, thank you for chiming in on that question, because, you know, when we have our full board meetings, and especially these business meetings, we are, like just said, struggling with that, and I think we're going to be trying to pass a resolution about that very issue of this grayness of the 500 feet, you know, on the same block. As we know, kids pass by around the corner, whatever it is, there's
Right.
live community
Yeah.
centers and everything within 500 feet around the corner. So, you know, we're really struggling with this, and we know that OCM has not been, we've had many words used about OCM, but just please, join us on a full board meeting, you know, as we speak about this, because it is a big issue.
Yes, and I agree with you about the schools, because there are 3 schools around the corner and you measure 294 feet. But if you go by OCM's regulations, it's gotta be on the
Not
same,
the same
Street.
street, not right.
you know, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
So we'll be actually talking a little bit about this at the end of the meeting, and we'll be talking about it more full board meeting next month.
And Tanya Arias. board
Thank
member.
you.
Yeah, hi, Sarah. I know this is on the agenda for tonight, and this is why I've joined this meeting. I know that a lot of people on the board have been wrestling with how this is being defined, and one of the biggest problems is that they are using the same measure for liquor stores as they are for pot stores. And now, you know, there's a big philosophical debate as to, is this the same product? what are the effects of these products, so on and so forth. So I'm going to leave it for the end of the meeting. But yeah, there's a lot of questions about the philosophy of how these stores are being allowed to be established.
Thank you. Do we have any more comments from the public?
I don't see any hands raised, but I do know that Larry had brought up concerns. I don't know if we want
Yeah, gotta talk louder.
I know that Larry had brought up some concerns.
Larry Shire.
Yeah,
Yes, but it's a moot point now. Okay.
And he's not here.
all right. He was earlier.
Oh.
But I think he may have left thinking that we.
Right.
Okay.
Discussed.
All
And
right. Let's finish this
sorry,
resolution of objection.
so back to the resolution.
Can I ask a question? It's another line for me, that's a question.
Yeah.
Then,
No, go ahead.
okay,
I'm sorry.
the dispensaries, are they the dispensaries, are they the legitimate ones? Or are they those fake ones that pop up?
No, 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 no. These are, that's why they're appearing in front of us,
Yeah.
because they are not just opening up a storefront.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, just put a little color on that. We get applicants, legal applicants. The members of the public say, well, there's already 3 cannabis stores on the block. Well, they're all illegal.
Oh, now I understand. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Right.
but the legal is really
I see.
wishy-washy too, so.
So whereas some members of the community had comments against. Therefore be it resolved that CB6 objects to the application. When I call your name, please answer in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled.
So we're in, if in
Favor of
favor
the
is a vote of
objection.
objection.
To be clear, a vote in favor of this resolution is a vote objecting to the application. Paige Judge,
In favor?
thank you. John Keller,
In favor.
thank you. Anton Mulder,
In favor.
thank you. Ann Seligman,
In favor.
thank you. Susan Steinberg,
In favor.
thank you. Sarah Whittington, Justin Colberg are not with us. Michael Enroe,
In favor.
thank you. Okay, with 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, and 0 not entitled, the motion passes. Okay, and if someone to make a motion in a second for the second cannabis application on the agenda for 1310 E223 property NYC Bronx LLC doing business as to be determined at the Green Dot at 352 East 23rd Street.
So we need another
Another motion.
resolution, a motion for a resolution of no objection, of
Yes,
objection.
of objection.
354?
The address again is 352 East 23rd Street.
Okay.
Okay, so a motion has been made and seconded on the resolution of objection. Just pull that up. So we have a resolution of objection for a new license to operate a cannabis retail dispensary for 1310 E223 property NYC Bronx LLC doing business as the Green Dot at 352 East 23rd Street. So whereas Yin Lin applicant, Aaron Phillip applicant, and Matthew Ward were asked to submit a questionnaire and invited to appear before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 at its December 19th, 2024 meeting, as CB6 has jurisdiction of the premises in the license application process. Whereas the applicants informed the committee that they would not appear at our meeting. Does the committee wish to include any further comments
Do we want to?
It might be good to indicate why. They did give a reason. This way, this makes it sound like they just refused, which they didn't.
Yeah,
Right, and I think it's worthwhile mentioning that there's
varying accounts though.
of
Yeah.
the,
Yes.
well, I think we can say that, right?
Yeah.
Like I think we can say it's unclear whether they in fact haven't executed.
Whereas it comes to the attention of the committee that it is unclear that
And it came to the attention of the committee that
the applicant did not have an executed.
the applicant did not have an executed lease.
Now, did I hear somebody mention that the landlord would not give them a lease? This is hearsay now.
So there was someone who claimed to be the landlord
Mm.
who reached out and said that they would not.
But what we do
We haven't
know
had
is they
time
don't
to
have a lease.
independently verify.
But
Okay,
we do
so-
know they don't have a lease. So we can
Right,
say
that's
that.
absolutely,
That-
okay,
I would say.
that's fine, okay.
We have been told they don't have a lease.
And there have been some members of the community who have had comments against. Does any other members of the public wish to speak? I know, again, there's Mr. Joseph Gambella in the Q&A. They raised what we've heard, which is that the property owner had not granted permission for this establishment to operate. And they're asking if the cannabis retail license application could be rejected. That's what this resolution will do.
Yeah.
But if there's anyone else who wishes to speak on the item, you can raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised.
Okay.
So therefore be it resolved that CB6 objects to the application. When I-
Change 52 to whereas no members of the community.
Sorry, line 53.
53, I'm sorry.
Line 53?
Mhm.
Well, that one member. of the
Oh,
Yeah, it did
community-
be.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's.
One
I mean,
member.
I could say one, I guess. Be precise, so I'll say one member. When I call your name, please answer in favor, oppose, abstain, or not.
Again, in favor means you oppose.
Yes, thank you. Paige Judge,
In favor.
thank you. John Keller,
In favor.
thank you. Anton Mulliner,
In favor,
thank you. Ann Seligman,
In favor.
thank you. Susan Steinberg,
In favor.
thank you. Michael Enroe,
In favor.
thank you. With 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, and 0 not entitled, the motion passes. So we'll go back to the order of the agenda.
okay, back to,
Yeah, back to our regular
okay,
scheduled programming.
okay, I think we should talk about 4, 5, and 6 pretty much together
Yes.
because it has to do with La Picora. Bianca, is there a representative or representatives for La Picora Bianca available?
Yes. Matthew Woodoffer, you may unmute.
Okay, we have 3 items on the agenda relating to your establishment, one for the side roadway cafe license, one for a sidewalk cafe license, and request for alteration for on-premises license. Could you walk us through a little bit? Tell us about your restaurant and any of the relevant information you may have.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having us on board. We've been part of the community for just about 10 years now. Under the new DOT, we need to modify our current sidewalk cafe, and as well as there's some new regulations for the roadway. So we have submitted those to the DOT. We are in total going to be losing about half of our current outdoor dining inventory. under the new policy, but we would be adding a roadway that doesn't currently exist.
Okay,
And what's it's 50th Street? What's, what's the alteration aspect of it?
It's just my understanding is it's the distance because we are adding a roadway.
Okay, so you need to, so the license needs to change to reflect that?
Correct.
I think she means the alteration of the liquor license. The alteration of the liquor license is once an applicant establishes their new permanent program outdoor setups, in order for them to legally be able to sell liquor there, they need to take their current liquor license and alter it, extend to that new space. That's what that means.
Thank you, Jesus, that's what I thought.
yeah, all right, yeah, okay, because they already have sidewalk seating right now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see it there, but could you walk us through, my name is Michael Ann, by the way, could you walk us through where the roadway cafe would be? Because there's a bike lane there, but and the sidewalk part of it.
If you move north on the street, it's going to be on 50th. So it's not going to be on 2nd Avenue.
Of course, yeah, right. Okay, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And then,
Stay right there, Brian.
Right there, yeah.
yeah, see, just, yeah. And so where is obviously you're gonna have to start after those water pipes or whatever they're
The hydrant.
called.
So this is an old roadway from about, I want to say 3 years ago during the COVID that was taken down and removed. It would be in this general area based off of the current plans that were approved.
How many seats outside on the roadway?
It's going to be, I would say, between 10 and 12. It's not very large.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said you lost half of what is going to be part of the new DOT regulations, meaning what are you losing?
We're going to be losing some of the distance off of the front of the building, to my knowledge. I apologize, I don't have the plans, but we need to create more space on the sidewalk so that there's a larger walkway. So, so a lot of the seating that you see in the front will be losing to create more space for pedestrians.
There's no link, internet thing there. Is that a link thing?
No,
Yeah,
this is
okay, just wondering. Because those seem to be, when we're looking at these cafes on the sidewalk and they have that as well. And the cafes right where, it really diminishes the sidewalk pathway even
Michael, Ann,
more.
I think in the materials that they sent us,
Yeah.
they talked about
Mhm.
what the length, like that's one of the questions
Yes.
in the questionnaire,
Okay.
is the distance from those.
Yeah.
And if it's within the rules of the DOT, which I
Right.
think is 4 feet, you gotta have 4 feet
4
between a
feet.
LinkedIn
Yeah,
or mailbox or subway grading or
Right.
things like that, yeah.
Can I ask my question?
Sure, go ahead.
So my question is, thank you, Brian. How far, like what Brian is pulling up right now,
This is the sidewalk.
yes, so, but the 50, you said there's 50 feet from the fire hydrant? Like, that's how much space you have after the hydrant? Like, that's still in your business? Like, it's not the road cafe would not extend beyond the
building?
storefront of your
Mhm.
building. I mean, not storefront, but like the footprint of your
building
building,
line.
the building line. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, was that question for me?
Yes.
So it would still, you have the plans up, it would still be adjacent to our physical, like, square footage of our building. It's just around the corner. Our building goes a decent way back down through past 2nd Avenue.
My my other concern is that with the construction across the street on the south side of 50th Street and the east side of Second Avenue, which has been going on forever, and I feel like it is not done yet. Do you anticipate that being, like, that's not your problem, but do you anticipate that being a problem just in terms of, yeah, like,
Like it's,
right?
you know,
Like
Reduces
that.
reduces the roadway to one lane.
Exactly.
Isn't there a
yeah.
bus that goes across 50th?
Yes,
Yes.
there is, but I think that stop has been like dropped.
So even to get through there, I mean, look at that. But I wonder how.
Man, I'll
long-
tell you, the 50th Street bus drivers, though, those guys are.
How, have you asked about that scaffold, like when that construction is coming down to, you know, just out of your own interest?
Yeah, we have. We get a lot of mixed answers. I mean, to be very honest with this area, what's really the most dangerous, challenging part is if you pan to the right, you have this kind of it's a little bit different now. There's kind of two ways where both like the bikes go and the pedestrians go that puts you out in the street. To be honest, like that's really like there's no longer this sort of pathway to go under the building. Now pedestrians and bikes have to go out into the street. That's really where it's to be honest quite dangerous. And that's where we've been asking, because there have been multiple accidents around there between bikes, between pedestrians, between cars.
That's insane that they haven't, how long has it been like that?
Years.
Like where he's talking about, did they used to have an under pathway for the pedestrians?
There used to be an under pathway. Now it's two side-by-side pathways in the street. So you kind of have the bike lane is now in the street and you have pedestrians in the bike lane. It's honestly, it's a little scary.
Yeah, and I drive down there quite often and traffic squeezing through
Yeah.
it's very accident prone.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, this is not the issue at hand.
No.
Let's get back to the Roadway Cafe.
Good to know.
Which would be about
Okay,
where
and
this.
we know the scaffold.
Right, exactly.
Hopefully is not gonna be there forever.
They are making progress.
And yeah, actually, they have gone up. By the way, that building took away one of my favorite restaurants, the Press Box.
Oh, yeah.
But what can I say?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, anyway, assuming that the sidewalk shed will be down within the next year. Now, we're talking about next April 1st when you're gonna be putting this up. So it seems to me that we shouldn't have an issue because that lane will open up sometime, I hope, in the summer.
Motion, no objection.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we try this for both the sidewalk cafe and the roadway cafe?
Yes.
With
Have
one
the
of them?
adjustment, can you do them all together? Or
And the
just-
license.
Well, the license, I think is a liquor.
Yeah, so,
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
good.
yeah, so I have it as the roadway and the sidewalk
Yeah,
together. in one
those are
section.
addressed to DOT and the
Yeah.
others addressed to.
So, okay. Go Miller.
Are there any comments from the public? I don't see any hands raised.
No, I don't see any hands raised. A motion made and seconded for a resolution recommending approval for roadway cafe and sidewalk cafe licenses for LPB2 LLC doing business as La Piccola Bianca at 950 Second Avenue. Whereas Matthew Rudolpher, principal, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on December 19th, 2024. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the Dining Out NYC license application process. The committee doesn't wish to include comments about the physical footprint, pedestrian flow, or potential conflicts with existing purviews. Whereas no members of the community had any comments for or against. Whereas this clause is not applicable. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on December 19th, 2024, and pursuant to all other consideration, is a plural, CB6 recommends approval of the above referenced applications, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representative to the committee. When I call your name, please answer in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Paige Judge.
In favor.
Thank you. John Keller.
In favor.
Thank you. Anton Mulliner.
In favor.
Thank you. Ann Seligman.
In favor.
Thank you. Susan Steinberg.
In favor.
Thank you. And Michael Enroe.
In favor.
Thank you. With 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions, and 0 not entitled, motion passes. So now, as a member of the committee, like to make a motion regarding the alteration of the premises license for LPB2 LLC.
No objection.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so motion's been made and seconded. We'll go to the resolution. So we have a resolution of no objection for an alteration on premises license for LPB2 LLC doing business as La Picora Bianca at 950 Second Avenue. Whereas Matthew Rodofker, principal, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on December 19th, 2024, CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the license application process. Whereas the establishment operates as an Italian restaurant, and whereas the establishment's hours of operation on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., Thursdays and Fridays from 11:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Does the committee wish to remove any stipulations or public comment? Okay. Whereas no members of the community had any comments for or against, therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on December 19th, 2024, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 has no objection to the application, so long as the applicant adheres to all representations made by the representatives of the committee. Be it further resolved, we'll state a disclaimer, that if the SLA application differs from what has been represented to us this evening, then we would urge the SLA to deny the application. I should have asked the principal, I apologize. Is all the information in this concerning the establishment operation correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, so when I call your name, please answer in favor, opposed, abstain, and not entitled. Paige Judge.
In favor.
Thank you. John Keller.
In favor.
Thank you. Anton Mulliner.
In favor.
Thank you. Ann Seligman.
In favor.
Thank you. Susan Steinberg.
In favor.
Thank you. Michael Enroe.
In favor.
Thank you. With 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, and 0 not entitled, the motion passes.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holiday.
Okay. Good. Item number 7, sidewalk cafe license for Third Avenue Cafe LLC, doing business, Third Avenue doing business as Bank Cafe at 432 Third Avenue. Is there a representative for Bank Cafe available?
Yes, Michael Kelly.
Your name
Good
is,
evening, everyone.
your name is familiar. Have you appeared before this committee before?
Every month. I try to make it every month like you.
And I see you've got another one, the next one's up for you, is for you too.
Yes. Okay, so this is a Bank Cafe's been there over 15 years. This is a sidewalk cafe application. They had a sidewalk cafe since 2015. We're going to have 9 tables, 18 seats on Third Avenue, leaving 10 feet clear. That's the clearance required on Third Avenue. The length of the cafe will be 36 feet, 36.5 feet by 4 feet 6 inches. There is a mailbox on the Third Avenue. We're 10 feet away from it. There's also a lamp post. We're 15 feet away from it. There are ventilated grates that we're 5 feet away from, over the 3-foot minimum, and we're approximately 20 feet from the corner. On East 30th Street, we have 12 tables and 24 seats. There's no obstructions on that sidewalk. The length of the cafe is 51 feet, 10 inches by 4 feet, 3 inches at the east corner and 6 feet on the west corner. It leaves 8-foot clearance, just like the old sidewalk cafe did. And that's about it. We'll ready if you have any questions.
Yeah, sure. Right now, I've seen what you've done is you have enclosed the portion of the sidewalk cafe. Is that correct?
I do not know, but it
You
should
don't know?
not be there if they did.
Like you, maybe I'm getting it wrong,
So-
but I thought you guys enclosed the seating that was on the sidewalk portion on Third Avenue. No?
No.
We did have roadways on Third Avenue, and I think
Yeah.
that application will come next month. But I will talk to them about any enclosures on the avenues on the sidewalks.
Yeah, Brian, if you go back up a couple of pictures,
These are,
you can see.
yeah, all of that is what I'm talking about, because I
Yeah,
just
you
passed
have-
by
you
there.
have- You have an awning, and I think the next picture shows the awning extended. It looks like it's almost an enclosure.
I mean, like plastic, you know how like you have it for the
Yeah.
Park Avenue Tavern or
Yeah,
what's it
there
called?
it is, there it is.
Plastic enclosed all around isn't that the side street? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the side street.
Is it, we're talking about the
This
avenue?
is the side street.
Yes.
The avenue, it looks like.
Like this, Michael.
Yeah.
That's
wait, no,
the
but
street
that's not-
view.
Yeah, that's on the street, but on the avenue right now, I don't know, he doesn't know. I'm just curious, that's all, I'm just wondering what the stipulations are with that at this time, were you not, is everything gone? You don't know if everything's gone then?
The roadways should be gone, but they are allowed to have the outdoor seating.
Yeah. Okay. And then on top of that, as of next April, you want to have the roadway cafe license
Yes,
and
I
then.
believe that will be coming.
But that's
Sorry.
not.
Yeah, that's
now.
not part of.
Okay.
That will probably be here next month.
We're just talking about the
Sidewalk.
side street.
So,
Sidewalk.
No, the sidewalk.
the sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
So, but Brian, you could go back to the one with the hours. But only if Michael Ann is done.
Well, those are the
Okay.
business hours on the inside.
Okay, so you're not gonna have
The
people on the
cafe will be
sidewalk
closing
at 4 a.m.
much earlier.
Okay,
They're allowed to close by midnight on
okay,
the sidewalk and outside. Those are the inside business hours.
okay,
All right, I don't see
that was
any.
my issue.
Do you find there's any congestion? I'm just curious, do you find there's any congestion on that side street with the Smileys there?
Got a question for me?
Yeah,
With the plastic hanging from the awning?
no,
It's Smiley's.
Smileys.
Smiley's is in the same building, but it's
It's
down
on
further.
30th.
Yeah, it's right there on the edge.
So it's.
That's their
beyond
adjacent.
this- Yeah. I can pull it up and speak to you.
I'm just asking if you find that there's any congestion with the deliveries for Smiley's.
We've had no problems over the last 15 years. There was always a sidewalk cafe there.
That's not what I'm asking, but anyway, okay.
Mr. Kelly, she's asking, there's a neighboring business. It's called
Okay.
Smiley's Exotic. It's a cannabis dispensary. It's next door to this restaurant. She's asking if you find any congestion as a result of this cannabis business being there.
We have not found it. The owner didn't mention anything to me about it.
Something about the sidewalk cafe. Okay.
And the sidewalks on the other side of the building entrance. So we're probably 10, 20, we're probably about 20 feet away from that. 18 feet.
So let me go back to the diagram.
This
So-
is the,
Yeah, I recall when the Smiley's license came up, we had a discussion about that building entrance, and that's the building entrance that separates you from Smiley's. I see that.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't see any seating on the 30th Street side. For the
there's
sidewalk.
two separate plans. The DOT should have sent you two separate plans. This plan is Third Avenue.
Okay, I think there was a separate.
Yeah, there's a
document
separate
on
plan.
on the website,
So we're
on the Airtable.
just talking about the sidewalk cafe right now?
Correct.
Right, we only have the sidewalk cafe,
That's
so
the only
that's what I'm,
application.
so
in
that's what
town.
I'm saying, for the sidewalk, I only see. In the diagram, seating on Third Avenue.
Wasn't there a second application on the Airtable? Did I miss it?
No, well, La Por Bianca, I know they had both sidewalk and
Mhm,
roadway. And then
The,
The other one,
Triona's also, it's later on the agenda, it's sidewalk and roadway. But so far for
Bank Cafe.
Bank Cafe, we've only received the sidewalk.
Okay.
and you should have received two separate plans, one with Third Avenue and one with East 30th Street from the DOT.
I only see this one. Hold on.
There it is.
I'm sorry. So here are the sidewalks, I see.
Yeah.
My apologies. It's one document, it's just further down. That's on it. So this is the 30th Street side. And this is the entrance that we were talking about, the separates.
The Smiley's, yeah.
Yeah, we're about 6 feet from the residential entrance. So probably about 18 feet from the cannabis store.
Was that Paige?
Paige, did you?
Sorry.
A motion?
Is it approval or no objection?
It's approval.
Okay, a motion of approval.
Second.
I just wanted to say it.
Thank you. Okay, so motion's been made and seconded. And I apologize. Again. Okay, so we have a resolution recommending approval for a sidewalk cafe license for Third Avenue Cafe LLC doing business as Bank Cafe at 431 Third Avenue. Whereas Michael Kelly, attorney, and Robert Hull, representative.
I'm not an attorney, I'm a representative also.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
I'm an accountant, I just don't practice.
He's the accountant.
CPA. And Robert Hull, representative, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on December 19th, 2024, CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the dining out NYC license application process. The committee, there's 3 comments about the physical footprint, or pedestrian flow, or potential conflicts with existing curb use. Are there any members of the public who wish to express an opinion on this application? If so, you can raise your hand. Not seeing any raised hands. Okay, so whereas no members of the community had any comments for or against, this clause is not applicable. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on December 19th, 2024, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the above reference application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives to the committee. When I call your name, please answer in favor, opposed, abstaining. Page Judge.
In favor.
Thank you. John Keller.
In favor.
Thank you. Anton Mullner.
In favor.
Thank you. Ann Seligman.
In favor.
Thank you. Susan Steinberg.
In favor.
Thank you. Michael Enroe.
In favor.
Thank you. With 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, and 0 not entitled, the motion passes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. So next up on the agenda, item 8 and 9. Sidewalk Cafe license for 192 TM Third Tavern LLC, doing business as Triona's Bar Restaurant at 192 Third. And Roadway Cafe license for 192 TM Third Tavern LLC, doing business as Triona's Bar Restaurant at 192 Third Avenue. Mr. Kelly, would you care to comment?
Yes, as to the sidewalk, we'd be having 4 tables with 8 seats, leaving a 10-foot, 11-inch clearance, 11 inches more than we had to. The sidewalk is 15 feet, 11 inches. We'll be using 5 feet of that. The roadway would be 18 feet, 1 inch in length by 7 feet, 6 inches. There'll be 9 tables and 18 seats on the roadway.
This is a sidewalk. 4 tables, 8 chairs. And
So this is all roadway, right?
roadway and sidewalk. There is 2 separate, but the diagrams don't show both. You have to look at both diagrams.
Okay. Do you have any questions or comments from the members of the committee?
Yeah, I have the same question and I expect the same answer that, you know, this also has a after midnight closing, but there won't be any usage outside after midnight. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
In the business hours could be misleading, but the way they wanted it answered what your hours were inside.
Yeah.
But it would close by 10, 12.
Okay.
Does the public have any comment?
I think we have a hand up.
Yes, Mr. Sean Brady, I will promote you to panelists. Mr. Brady, you can unmute.
Hey, all right. Can you see me now?
Yep, yeah, we can see you.
Okay, so Sean Brady from the Gramercy Park Block Association. No objection to the hours, and the closing at midnight is good. You know, obviously, you've heard from us, and Paige would know from many years of experience with us, our sensitivity to bars on this stretch of Third Avenue. This one is a little bit unique. I'd like to ask them if they're planning, Michael Kelly, the attorney, if they're planning to have TVs in the roadway cafe, because up until now, or I don't know, it's actually until now, but during COVID, when we had the outdoor sidewalk shed, they mounted huge TV screens, and when games were on, they were blasting, and it basically connected the restaurant to the outdoor roadway. And it was somewhere between a roadway cafe and a sidewalk takeover. You'd have, a real crowd gathered, justifiably excited about the game, watching either from inside or on the outdoor screens, standing on the sidewalk. And you literally had people walking around the roadway cafe on the street to get around the crowd. So my question is all about the TVs. If there aren't any, I think it's going to be a nice, place for people to sit outside and enjoy a beer. But if it's TVs, it's basically just a huge extension of the restaurant out into the street.
So the owner spoke to me about the TVs he had outside. I think he removed them prior to this date and prior to he was operating without them. He asked me if he could have them because unfortunately I went to court from a few times with the noise violations from the TVs and they were dismissed, but I got him to understand that it is illegal and the next time it won't be the civilian complainants coming by issuing the tickets. It'll be the DEP and their fines start at $3,250.
Oh, I didn't even know it was illegal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if there's no TVs, yeah, we won't, I have no position one way or the other. That was our only point.
We can stipulate that.
Yeah.
We should thank you, Mr. Brady.
Thanks
We
for
should
bringing that
stipulate that.
Cause I remember that and it was loud and it is a sidewalk takeover. It's crazy.
So the dining out NYC regulations do say that there shouldn't be unreasonable noise. No musical instruments or amplified sound unless authorized by a street activity permit. Must comply with New York City Noise Control Code, including all restrictions and prohibitions relating to unreasonable noise pursuant to subdivisions A and A1 of section 24-218 of the Administrative Code. New York City Department of Transportation may refer community disputes to alternative dispute resolution through the MEND Mediating Establishment and Neighbor Disputes NYC program.
Yeah, okay, so technically, and I think they might have even complied with that because I'm not sure the sound for the TVs, whether that was coming from within the shed or blasting out from the restaurant itself. So, if they stipulate that there won't be any TVs, whether with sound or without sound, then we wouldn't have any objection.
And you're comfortable stipulating, like you have the authority to stipulate?
Yes, I do.
Okay. With that stipulation, do I hear a motion? Let me see, for the first one, for the Sidewalk Cafe, and then we'll get to the roadway license in the next.
So does the liquor
Well, I have it
license
as
not
well.
need an alteration for that then?
Yes, we'll be back with that.
With an alteration?
Yes. The
Application.
SLA doesn't want any alterations filed until the actual permits are approved.
Got it.
Motion of no objection.
Second.
The draft I have is for both, but we could separate it if necessary.
Except the roadway is a DOT and the sidewalk is.
It's also DOT.
Is that what
Yeah.
it is? Yeah, okay, so
Yeah,
let's
we
put
just
them
did
one
that
up,
with the
okay.
past. Okay, so a motion has been made and seconded. Let's pull out the resolution. This is 192. Another resolution recommending, I guess technically, well, I don't see televisions in the actual plans.
No, but I
we
think it
still
still
put it
can't
in.
hurt
We-
for us to add a
Right,
add a
so what,
stipulation.
I guess my question is, would it be approval or approval with modification to propose?
Yeah, because, well, we still have some pending modifications.
I think it's, I would think it would be an approval, but there would be among the whereases,
Right.
the
Yeah,
applicant
that's right.
has stipulated that
Yes.
they will have no televisions outside.
Okay, so approval for sidewalk cafe and roadway cafe licenses for 192 PM Third Tavern LLC, doing business as Triona's Bar Restaurants at 192 Third Avenue. Whereas Michael Kelly, representative, and Robert Cole, representative, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on December 19th, 2024, CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the Dining Out NYC license application process.
Brian, we're seeing your viewfinder, not your reso.
Oh, I'm sorry, my apologies. I forgot it doesn't follow me.
So many
Thank you.
windows.
Yes.
So here we go. Okay. So the committee doesn't wish to include any comments about the physical footprint or dimensions, or pedestrian flow or potential conflicts with existing curb use.
It could be that your stipulation can go in there, and one of those two, press undo. Because the resolution, DOT doesn't care so much about the resolution. There's like a form that we have to send back. They care more about that. So if we're going to put that in there, it's got to fit into one of these two. Pedestrian flow, I guess, saying, whereas there was a concern that television screens would be placed on the sidewalk.
No,
No.
I think that,
In the sidewalk.
that televisions would be placed in such a way that they would, impede the flow of pedestrian traffic.
But not on the sidewalk.
I don't know that we want to
Well,
be that
no, I
specific.
think-
Yeah, it could be on the sidewalk, it could be just inside.
Yeah.
It was,
Potentially.
the issue was that the TVs were in the roadway
That's
cafe,
right, and they were standing on the sidewalk to look at
Yeah.
them.
Right.
so
They were lined up.
I would just skip no TV.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's it.
But it has to, like
Yeah.
Jesus was saying, it has to go and
In this form.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the representative.
Brian, actually, can you go back? We do need to indicate that this is something about what this category is. Can you undo you all that blue stuff that you deleted? Can you bring that back?
I can, but then I have to. Oh, no, I guess not.
Here's the blue stuff.
Okay, whereas relating to pedestrian flow, comma, and we may change the template so that it starts off with that language now so that we don't accidentally delete it. That might be a good efficiency for the future.
There was a concern that television screens would be placed in such a way that they would impede that flow, or whatever the right language is.
Impede pedestrian flow.
So,
That's in circulation, you can say, so you don't have to say flow again.
so
Good point.
the intent is that if TVs are set up, let's say, in the cafe, roadway cafe, or in the sidewalk cafe
Sidewalk.
area, that they cannot impede the flow of pedestrian circulation. Now, I was under the impression that we could stip that there be no TVs in the roadway cafe, and any other TVs be in the premises and not outside, visible to the pedestrians going by.
Yeah, that's my understanding. So we would say whereas the representative stipulated, and whereas the representative stipulated that there would be no TVs in the roadway cafe or sidewalk cafe. Or words to that effect.
Even, just as an aside, many sports bars have myriad TVs inside,
Yeah,
which I've seen people stand
but,
outside.
yeah. But I mean,
Watching
at Bank
those TVs.
Cafe, they have a TV inside on the, they have TV inside, but they mute it.
Yeah.
So why don't you just, let's just mute it, but I know what he's talking about, it's like when you can hear the
Okay,
people
what have we
gather
got
around.
So whereas relating to pedestrian flow, there was a concern that television screens would be placed in such a way that they would impede pedestrian circulation. And the representative stipulated that there would be no televisions in either the roadway or sidewalk cafe.
That's clear.
Sidewalk cafe area.
Area, yeah. So
Okay.
if you wish, we could also say and near, inside near the sidewalk. I don't know if you want to know that.
I'm not sure we want.
I think it was.
It's up to others.
Or concerns raised about curb use. And whereas, Mr. 80 for the Gramercy Block Association, I suppose, a representative of the Gramercy Block Association did not supported the application, the roadway and sideway applications, so long as the stipulation above is adhered to. Is that a fair?
Yep, sounds.
I would be more specific. Stipulations is a language of the SLA, not this DOT program. I would say so long as televisions are not placed in such a way that they impede whatever.
Pedestrian flow?
Sorry, I mean, if you're reflecting what I thought, so long as there is no televisions outside. It's not, it's not a question of which way they're turned. It's just so that there's no televisions outside.
Neither in the sidewalk cafe nor in the.
Correct. Yeah.
The roadway cafe.
Sidewalk or roadway cafes.
And that way we can just use this language for both.
Yeah.
So then doesn't that line 16 through 19 need to be then altered to match that? Whereas relating to pedestrian flow, there was a concern that television screens would be placed in the sidewalk and roadway cafes.
Right.
Yeah,
maybe and thus would impede him. Yeah.
Thus would, right.
Yeah.
But the representative stipulated that.
Yeah, okay.
And then, Yeah, again, I guess these would not be modifications, so much as just stipulations.
I would leave it in there. Oh, actually, that's true. That's true.
Okay, take it out.
Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting, representatives, excuse me, at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on December 19th, 2024, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the above referenced applications so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives to the committee. When I call your name, please answer in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Page Judge.
In favor.
Thank you. John Kelly.
In favor.
Thank you. Anton Mulder.
In favor.
Thank you. Ann Seligman.
In favor.
Thank you. Susan Stun.
In favor.
Thank you. Michael Anwell.
In favor.
Thank you. The 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, 0 not entitled. The motion passes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. You represent anything else?
Happy
on this
holidays.
agenda?
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Mr. Kelly, for being so precise. You really make it very helpful for us. Thank you.
We try, we try.
Oh, you
I
do.
try to answer your questions before you ask.
No, you do that very well. Down to
Sure
the
you're not a
inch,
lawyer?
down to the inch. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
And a happy holiday.
Okay, on to item number 10, method of operation change on premises license for 293 Third Cafe Incorporated doing business as Seven Sins at 293 Third Avenue. And is there a representative here?
Yes, hi, everyone. My name is Benjamin Korngut. I'm the attorney for the representative. And I have with me Peter O'Connell, who's a principal of the licensee.
Okay, could you explain your reasons for this change?
Change of method of operation. Mr. O'Connell's been operating there since 2009. It was formerly the Bluebell Cafe. He changed the branding to Seven Sins. There were no physical changes. In addition to change of the menu, he would also like the opportunity to stay open till 4 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. He currently has 2 a.m. And in addition to that, these are, I was unsure whether to include these, but he will have security just on New Year's Eve, like 4 or 5 times a year for major events. And in the interest of full disclosure, we also included third-party promoters, but that's going to be just for trivia night. So it's not like club promoters. It is solely for trivia, but technically that is a third-party promoter. So there are these companies that go around and host trivia nights at different bars throughout the city.
Okay.
And that's Pete, do you want to add anything to that? You're muted, Pete.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Just curiosity, maybe I'm looking at the Google Maps. It seems to me that is there a sidewalk table in front of the establishment? Sidewalk seating? Am I mistaken?
Mr. O'Connell, we can't hear you.
Get to the. Well, I'm always doing that, just maybe for something very minor, but on the SLA application, you say your Sunday hours are 12 to 2 a.m. and on the CV6 questionnaire, it says 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Which is it?
I don't think he heard you.
All right.
I'm sorry, what is the question?
Okay, on the SLA application, it says your Sunday hours are noon to 2 a.m. And on our questionnaire, the CB6 questionnaire, it says the hours are on Sunday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to 2 a.m.
I think we open the bar business. We're legally entitled to open the bar business Saturday and Sunday at 11. I think that's a misprint. We open the doors at 10 because it's a brunch. We serve brunch Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, it would be 10 a.m.
Okay.
So my only red flag was that, there was no outreach on the questionnaire. When there was a question about, have you reached out to upstairs neighbors? And, the answer to that was no.
Yeah, so there was no, there
At that
there were no signatures. Pete has owned Molly's for, how long have you owned Molly's, Pete?
1991.
Okay, so nothing's changed, all right.
Could, Brian, could you give the Google image?
Knows every, you know, I spoke to him about this before, and he basically said, I didn't reach out for formal signatures, but I can get them if you want. He knows everyone in the building and in the surrounding building, so.
All right, we'll take you at your word, but we'll hold you to it, because you know this is being recorded, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I just,
So this is
again,
from September 2024, this street view.
so fairly recent, and what is that area, that black fence or something there? I'm trying to make it out.
That is a scaffolding for the adjoining building. They're doing the renovations on the brickwork. On the
Yeah.
right-hand side of me as you enter the door. On the left-hand side is the formerly was Pug Uglies.
Okay, but I'm looking at, Seven Sins, and from the middle to the right-hand side, there's something black. Is that part of
That's
the
an
store?
entrance upstairs, to upstairs.
That's just a.
Okay, I see, okay.
To apartments upstairs, maybe.
Yeah.
I couldn't get an outdoor cafe license there during COVID, so we had to change from the Bluebell Cafe because we lost a lot of business. And when we reopened, we never got our business back to an operational level. So I had no option but to change. And my reason now for going to 4 o'clock is we had a 2 a.m. is I would like to do a brunch menu Friday. An innovative brunch menu Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Keep the kitchen open a little longer.
Why not Sunday? Isn't Sunday brunch day?
Sunday is brunch for daytime, but Sunday nights are dead. Sunday nights are dead everywhere in the city.
All right, so what are the seven sins?
You can actually look them up. You can Google them.
I'm squeaky clean.
Do we have any comments from the public? I see a raised hand. Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Hi, yeah, this is Sean Brady from the Gramercy Park Block Association. So as I mentioned before, and Paige knows, we've been very, very sensitive about bars up and down Third Avenue in our neighborhood. And that, includes new bars, especially focused on new bars, but also extension of hours. There's only been 2 establishments that we supported for 4 a.m. In our neighborhood so far. And as Paige might remember, over, I think, about 15 years that we've been appearing before this committee, but I've been involved in, and obviously the Block Association before that. And one was actually Plug Uglies because they're good operators. And then the other one was the Freehand Hotel when they opened up. Even though they were new, they went for a slew of 4 a.m. licenses. And our theory, which panned out there, was, people do need a place to drink until 4 a.m. We don't want to have a whole bunch more bars in our neighborhood with 4 a.m. drinking, but if there's a place where people can drink and it's going to be well organized and it has a good operator, and in the case of the Freehand Hotel, it's also, tucked away from the street, so that was something that worked out well. Then we would support it. And we don't really have another operator in our whole neighborhood with as much history and as much respect from the community as Peter O'Connell. And so we are confident that unlike virtually any other licensee in the neighborhood, he would run it very well and would not cause any problems. And so therefore, we do support the extended hours and change to the method of operation.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for that.
But we reserve our right to oppose everybody else.
Susan?
I just wanted to go on record to let you know what the 7 sins are. pride, lust, greed, sloth, envy, wrath, and gluttony. I guess gluttony would be the closest.
Seven
I don't know,
cardinal-
lust.
seven cardinal sins.
3:30.
Guilty.
3:30 AM. Less, I'm thinking.
Do I hear a motion of no objection?
No objections.
Second.
Okay, so a motion has been made and seconded. I'll pull up the resolution.
Black Association, Mr. Sean Brady. What is
Gramercy, he's from Gramercy Park,
the
right?
name of his organization?
Gramercy Park.
Gramercy Park Association.
Yeah.
So we have a resolution of,
Association.
yes, the Gramercy Park Block.
Gramercy Park.
So we have a resolution of no objection for a method of operation change on premises license for 293 Third Cafe Inc. Doing business as Seven Sins at 293 Third Avenue. Whereas Benjamin Corner.
No.
I can make this larger, forgive me. There's Benjamin Corngut.
It's got good feeling, man.
Attorney and Peter O'Connell, principal, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Planning Board 6 on December 19th, 2024, CP6 having jurisdiction of the premises and license application process. Whereas the establishment operates as, or will operate as a gastro pub, restaurant. Yes, sir.
Oh.
And whereas the establishment is seeking to change its hours of operation Sundays from 10 AM to 2 AM. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from was that 8 AM to 2 AM?
Oh, no.
It's there. She's on.
And then Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 8 AM to 4 AM. Do I have those
That's correct.
two sets correct? Okay. And then I took this from the questionnaire that was submitted, whereas the applicant expressed that the method of operation change applications for modifying the closing hours on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays to 4 AM and for modifying the menu to a gastropub menu. The applicant also expressed that the establishment will have security and special occasions such as holiday parties and that outside promoters will only be used for trivia nights. I don't know if the committee wants to include that as a
Yes.
stipulation. Okay. Does it?
Brian, it might be best to split those up into two separate ones because they are kind of different.
That's true. Thank you. Let's put that as two separate whereas clauses.
Also being on business.
Okay, so
Like I have there.
the committee didn't have additional stipulations, however, there,
On that in terms of the resident, right?
whereas a representative
The government.
of the Gramercy Park Block Association expressed support for the application. Is that a correct characterization? Okay, thank you. Therefore, be resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on December 19th, 2024, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 has no objection to the application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations, made by the representative to the committee. And our standard disclaimer that if there's anything that differs between an SLA application and what was presented this evening, then we would urge the SLA to allow the application. When I call your name, please answer in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Paige Judge.
In favor.
Thank you. John Kelly.
In favor.
Thank you. Anton Mulder.
In favor.
Thank you. Anne Seligman.
In favor.
Thank you. Susan Steinberg.
In favor.
Thank you. Michael Amro.
In favor.
Thank you. The 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, and 0 entitled. The motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
There are some hands.
That's Mr. Brady's hand, I think. I'm sorry, I forgot to lower it.
Okay.
Okay, item 11, renewal on premises license for Wagamama USA 2015 LLC doing business as Wagamama at 605 Third Avenue. Is there a representative available?
Yes, good evening, members. My name is Maston Sansom. I'm the attorney for the applicant here. And Senior Vice President Pat Peterson should be on here. He may be under the name of Kevin Gomez. Kevin was originally going to participate, and then we tried to share the link with Pat. However, he was unable to get on. There he is.
Well, it looks like we got him.
Pat Peterson.
Perfect. Okay.
If they'd like to speak, they should be able to unmute.
I'm sorry?
If they would like to speak, they can unmute. And I see they have.
Great. Yeah, so this is a renewal application for Wagamama USA 2015 LLC at 605 Third Ave. And we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. That's kind of what I've got.
Nice to.
Susan?
I just want to speak favorably. I have eaten at Wagamama. I must admit, the name is a little odd, but I really did enjoy it. I did enjoy the food.
Thank you.
That's the best thing I've heard this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, I only have one question, maybe it's a nitpicky one, but you do have outdoor cafe seating. It's very obvious. But in your application, you said you don't have any.
Yeah.
Right, that might be COVID.
Yeah, so and I'll let Pat speak a little more about that. And that was originally a product of COVID and has continued. And that's something that obviously is going to require an alteration application because, you know, at one point, and I'll let Pat talk a little more about it, but kind of an emergency.
Before you do, can I ask a sort of add-on question and maybe both can be addressed at the same time? Because this is a pub, right?
I'm sorry?
This is a POPS, a privately owned public space.
Yes.
Yes,
But
and
it's part of the lease. Yep. So it's privately owned. And
yes, privately owned public space. It's right there in the name.
You know, is it a public space? That's a good question. I mean, because it's part of the lease, right? So I don't think they'd have to. And I don't know if I'd call it a public space.
No. There is a POPS is a technical.
Yeah.
Maybe you should answer Anton's question, then we can come back to this.
Okay.
So coming back to the formation of this, I joined this organization in August of 2020 during the height of the pandemic. Where at the time, you know, as regulations were being released, we were only allowed to do outdoor spaces. And so we set up an area right outside the restaurant in our leased space and began operating, you know, outdoor dining and takeout dining during COVID. And then as we continued to operate when the COVID parameters began to come down, we simply kept the table space out there, unaware that we had not previously had the proper application filled out for that. So we operate that space only during the spring and summer when it's a place for people to enjoy the patio. It is currently down right now. It usually goes down when the weather cools about October. And so, yeah, we would, if we have misfiled, you know, my sincerest apologies. It was done in all earnest. And the space is in our lease, and from operating it now for 4 years, it does not impede the egress on either 39th or 3rd. And it's just simply an outdoor space for our guests to enjoy the brand.
Okay, so the question is that in order to reset up this outdoor dining, you will have to apply separately to the SLA for a license to do that.
Yep. Yeah, we'd have to file, and I apologize. I should have mentioned that the original application was a different law firm was used for the original application. I believe it goes back to even 2016.
It was also different ownership at the time, so.
Yeah, a corporate change application was filed in 2020 to, you know, change the corporate structure. So, you know, we're now taking this on it, and we realize what's happening here and what needs to be done. So, but absolutely right.
So what happens if somebody comes along drinking a cup of coffee and they want to like have a seat at one of your tables, like, because they want to sit down and the friggin' bus is going to be 20 minutes away? Is that acceptable, or are they going to get chased out?
Generally, we don't chase people out. If what they're doing isn't disturbing anybody, we don't chase anybody out of there.
Okay, Brian, I see you looking up the.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't say, but you know what, you can't find a list. I know. Jesus, do you know where we might be able to find like an actual listing of pops?
Yeah, there is a pops map.
Supposedly there is one on the city's open data portal, but I have never actually gone to search for it there. We normally use the resource that Brian was just using, the Municipal Art Society Find a Pop database. I've also always kind of found the open data portal a little bit clunky to use.
Big nice.
But that's why, you know, I will say if it were a Pops, it would be included there on the Municipal Art Society.
It should be. It's not updated, but there is one across the street.
They're pretty up to date.
There is one across the street.
Yeah. The one that's upstairs, yeah. But, okay, like, I mean, and the Pops may be, I mean, it's clearly a Pops, just looking at it.
Yeah.
It just, it may not, the space that where the tables and such are may not be part of that. That's part of the lease, not part of the Pops.
I do see a 600 Third Avenue, but I think
That's across the street.
Yeah, that's the other side of the street.
Yeah.
This may be probably a private space.
Yeah.
Period.
I just,
And
when
if
I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, there are places that look like Pops, but are not Pops.
Yeah. And there are Pops that are not accessible.
Yes.
We protect our public space because it's so limited, so.
Of course.
Next is your.
See, it's within
Within the building line.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's not.
Yeah. There should be a plaque someplace.
Right. Next time I go by there, I'll take a look.
It should be. It should.
That's on, what street?
39.
39.
It should be
Yeah.
usually on the.
East side of
on those
Third.
poles.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it may look like it, but I don't know if it is. But I can't guarantee. I can't say for sure.
We can always go to the Department of City Planning to see if it is, but I'm not finding any evidence so far in the usual places.
Okay, but I mean, the rest of it, I'm sure is a Pops, right? It's not just wide sidewalk?
Not necessarily.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll take your lead, Jesus.
All right, do I hear a motion of no objection?
Motion, no objection.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Talking about a renewal license here.
Motion is, no objection has been made, for a resolution. Of no objection for renewal on premises license for Wagamama USA 2015 LLC, doing business as Wagamama at 605 Third Avenue. Commissary will bring the resolution. There's Mastin Sampson, attorney, and Pat Peterson, representative.
That's correct.
Thank you. Appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on December 19th, 2024. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises and license application process. Whereas the establishment operates as a Japanese restaurant?
Asian fusion.
Asian fusion
Asian
restaurant?
fusion,
I
yeah.
was gonna say.
Yes.
Asian fusion. Whereas the establishment's hours of operation are 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week, is that correct?
It is 11 to 10 Sunday through Thursday, and then 11 to 11 on Friday and Saturday.
Did you say Sunday or Monday?
Sunday,
Sunday through Thursdays, okay.
Sunday through Thursday, and then just Friday, Saturday night, we extend an hour.
11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
That's correct.
Fridays and Saturdays.
Yes. Thank you.
Does the committee wish to include any stipulations or public comment? Do any members of the public have any comment? You can raise your hand if so. I don't see any raised hands. Whereas, no members of the community have had any comments or against, or no, well, you're not a member of the community.
I'm not.
You're the committee.
I'm the ghost.
Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on December 19th, 2024, pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 has no objection to the application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives to the committee. And there's any disclaimer that if there's anything that differs between the application and what was presented here this evening, then we urge the SLA to deny the application. When I call your name, please answer in favor, oppose, abstain, or not entitled. Page Judge.
In favor.
Thank you. John Kelly.
In favor.
Thank you. Anton Mulner.
In favor.
Thank you. Ann Seligman.
In favor.
Thank you. Susan Steinberg.
In favor.
Thank you. Michael Anwar.
In favor.
Thank you. With 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, 0 not entitled, the motion passes.
And I just consulted the CB6 POPs report that you like the proper one that you guys did a few years back. It's not in there. So if this is a POPs, it is a very well concealed one. But they still need the alteration that needs to be done.
Yeah.
We'll address that. Thank you, sir.
I did a Google search and I didn't find anything.
Yeah,
under
nor may.
605,
No.
so.
It's just the layout of it,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, thank you very much.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Glad you renewed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, members. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful
Thank you.
night.
Happy holiday.
And you as well.
too.
What?
People don't.
Okay, next item on the agenda,
Exactly.
discussion on reforming the regulations relating to cannabis
Oh, boy.
retail dispensaries. If we could do this in 5 minutes, I'd be very happy.
We all would.
As some of you may know, the Budget and Government Committee, Budget and Government Affairs Committee is also looking into this. And Reshma Patel,
Yeah,
some days ago, drafted a resolution which basically talked to the distancing problem and definition thereof being used by our friends at OCM. Now, we just had a discussion of this about on items 1 and 2.
Mhm.
You know, let's say 500 feet from the school, and the way it's being mandated by the Office of Cannabis Management and their regulations, got to be on the same street. But as we see on one of these dispensaries, yeah, they were within the regulations, but the school was 294 feet away to walk around the corner.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think one of the things we should be looking at is not straight line in terms of where dispensary is located and where school or house of worship or something of that nature, but it should be a radius.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
straight line. Now, this might be okay in put up in New York State, but it's not appropriate for a large city like New York City or even Rochester or Syracuse or places like
Mhm.
that. And the gist of this draft is that it's extremely problematic, as it says here, to have 500 feet in a straight line.
yeah.
yeah.
Right. Now, I know the State Liquor Authority pretty much goes by the same regulations. In fact, I sent Rashma a copy of the State Liquor Authority's blurb on this. However, the State Liquor Authority has a thing called 200, 500 foot rule hearing. That is, if you fall within the school, within 500 feet, or another liquor establishment within 500 feet or 200 feet, whatever the case may be, you can petition the State Liquor Authority and give a good reason why it could be
For an exemption.
an exemption, exactly. Now, I'm not so sure we want to do that from a cannabis point of view. Because liquor and cannabis are two different products. And if you sell liquor in a restaurant, that's one story.
Wait, Reshma, is that you?
Pages here.
Are you okay?
Selling alcohol in a restaurant is a little bit different than setting up a dispensary. You go in and you take out.
Very different.
Yeah, so, as we've been ranting and raving over the last couple of years, like this, OCM has been rolling out their regulations. And even they sometimes are confused. And, Jesus, I think you've been to a couple of meetings and they really didn't come up. It was last year, they didn't come up with the appropriate answers or they could answer
Mhm.
some of the questions that many of us in many of the community boards, not just us,
Mhm.
Right,
came up with.
throughout the city.
Yeah, throughout the city. So, that's the first thing. Second thing is, you called me today and said that they were considering,
Who they?
the OCM was considering modifying the distance regulations between cannabis dispensaries from 1,000 feet to something less. Is that my understanding?
They're in the process of seeking public comment on creating a mechanism that would allow applicants to apply for waivers of that 1,000 feet requirement. And so our board chair thought it might be good for this committee to pass a sort of a statement or some sort of comment opining on that. We took the liberty of assuming that it would be against any such measure. But again, that's for you all to figure out. But if that is what it is, we've taken the liberty of mocking up a resolution. Now,
Great. So
Let's see it.
can I be a little devil's advocate?
Sure.
So, at a recent, I think at the full board meeting, there was discussion about, the issue I have is that a dispensary is not the same as a bar. It's more like a liquor store. And somebody said, well, people don't stand outside liquor stores and drink. And that is just there's a liquor store around the corner from me. I went up there to put something in the mailbox, and they've taken the trash can away that used to be right in front of it. And there were literally like half a dozen little, like
The
the
little bottles,
half
they do
pint
stand out there.
bottles. And it's like, okay, those guys are drinking as much as anybody is smoking. And I'm not, like, I really wanna work on increasing that parallel rather than reducing it.
And I believe in New York State, there is an open carry law, that is, you can't carry in a public place. And I'm not absolutely sure, but by extension, you shouldn't be drinking liquor in front of a liquor store.
Brown bags, right?
Yeah.
I mean.
So it's not an issue of law, it's a matter of enforcement.
Once
Right.
again.
Yeah.
So same thing, so if somebody's smoking pot in front of a dispensary, what's so different than that same person going half a block down and doing it in front of the school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
My problem is that we're talking about licensed cannabis stores, but there's such a proliferation
Yeah.
of illegal, and I think less than 1,000 feet will just encourage the worst of the worst.
To fill in.
Cause they'll fill in,
Yeah.
and there's so many empty storefronts, and
Yeah.
I'm
Well, that's
sure
it.
landlords are happy.
Well, that's it too. And it's like, you
But
know,
that's why there needs to be consequences for the landlords, not.
yeah, and like we're talking about with the, the writers and the app companies, but it's also, what I mentioned before is should we be capping how many we have on top of that in one
Like per district.
community? Yeah, and per district. I mean, how many, we don't want Third Avenue to become an enemy. It's bad enough. They do not have a handle on these illegal cannabis
Or
shops.
Second Avenue is gonna be bar, dispensary, right?
So right now it's bar.
But, so.
And the question, the issue is that not all community districts are the same size.
Right,
You know, I mean, some.
Geographically.
Yeah, Geographically, right. So it'd be difficult to say not more than 10 in any district, if the district is half the size of
Oh.
ours.
that's a good point. I mean, that's why you're saying like 1,000 feet here, but 2,000, like upstate, right?
It's.
Yeah, outside of the city.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but then again-
2,000 feet is like a lot less upstate than it is in New York.
I mean, they approved Smiley's, once again, hate to bring it up, but in a residential building, a brownstone on a residential street, right down the street from a community
Facility.
center.
Yeah.
As we know it. So we know that OCM is, so what are the next steps that we can take? Is what I think you're getting to.
No, I think the only thing we can really do is get our resolutions, get our ideas on paper and submit it. I would propose that we contact other community boards.
Yes.
And do this
Agreed.
as a
Yes.
group rather
Absolutely.
than
Yeah.
six Continue to,
Yeah.
or doing something.
12, right?
12 doing something. and,
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know.
And Sandy, I mean, is this something that she can raise at a,
Borough board?
yeah,
That's where it came up
Yeah, I think
today,
so.
actually.
And
Um,
full board?
no,
Borough.
borough
Oh, borough
board.
Oh, yeah.
And I see also Tanya has her hand raised.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Yeah, she wants to talk about it.
I didn't mean to be
Hi,
rude.
guys.
Who are you?
I,
No, my name's Dave McKenna.
And you
Came
are?
in after I was.
Yes, but what are you?
Moving into the neighborhood.
I was
Or
staying in the movie
considering.
community,
Oh, okay.
And I was just, I've never been to a community board meeting and I'm
It's
very, very
interesting.
curious.
And you'll never come back.
Susan, I thought you were asking who I was. I'm like, oh, man.
How are you?
That's good.
I thank you, the committee, for bringing this up. I actually think that this is quite an important subject. And my concern is, this whole week, I've been doing a lot of reading, and all of you know David Reef, right? From Tudor City Greens. He's very active in researching as well. So we've been exchanging information back and forth. And what I find interesting is that on December 6th, there was an article about the fact that the Cannabis Advisory Board actually recommended to the Cannabis Control Board in the state that maybe their concern is, quote, and I'm quoting, "We don't want to be in a position where revenues are declining because of too many stores are opening." So their concern is actually profitability. It has nothing to do with the quality of life of people.
Exactly.
It is, they could not give two hoots as to whether you're close to a school or not close to the school. And by the way, I found a horseshoe crab ornament for you. What I'm thinking is, we have open carry laws for liquor. So you may get the occasional wino that takes the little bottle and drinks it, but typically people do not walk around drinking on the street. You do that in New Orleans, you don't do that in New York City. So when you're
SantaCon.
a SantaCon, which should be eliminated, but that's for another day and another time. So when you're smoking pot, okay, when you're smoking pot, to old people like us, it doesn't really affect us that much, but to the young brain, there is THC in that smoke. I know that someone mentioned, oh, so why don't we just ban cigarette smoke in public too? Well, yeah, but the problem with pot is that not only does it have the carcinogen, it has the THC factor, which when you see the little kids walking by and there's a cloud of THC in the air, it does affect children's brains. I mean, so it's a difference. I think it is a difference. And if I would suggest that we put perhaps in as Michael Ann was saying, I think it's a matter of density. How many stores, how many of these licensed stores do we want in an area? And perhaps that's a better way of dealing with this. We do the 500 feet from the school and a density factor. And perhaps we can come with that. The other thing is that this guy from Flintstone is getting around the rules. Oh God, this guy's a creep. He's getting around the rules of not having more than 3 stores by licensing stores.
Yeah, he's using somebody else's name, like one of our meetings, he had that other lady using her license, his partner.
Tanya,
all of a sudden.
Would you mind, could you send the board office that article and distribute it to the board?
Who should I send it to? And
or you can just send it to office@cv6.org.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, sounds good. So, those are interesting points that they're thinking of reducing the number of stores because it won't become, supply and demand. And that's all they care about. So maybe we can help them by saying, hey, reduce the density. Yeah. Those are my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you.
Nice, thank you.
But I think you're
You're
on
welcome.
a think we need to be like a group of community boards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how do we go about this? So where would we start to do that? Like, who's gonna reach out to these other community boards?
Well, Jesus and Sandy.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
since you meet with other community board
Yeah.
business managers on a regular basis. Has this been raised in any of those meetings?
From not so much the, interboard collaboration, but yes, Sandy or I, preferably Sandy, she deals with the chairs, I deal with the district managers.
Yeah.
But yes, we can talk, I can talk with Sandy during our weekly meetings to see how we can develop a strategy for this. But because it would be preferable to work that way, because there are some boards also who know more about this stuff than we do because they get more applications. And some of the members, I think CB2 has a cannabis committee, and the chair of the committee is like an expert at this stuff. So
Maybe
it would
they'll
be-
Wow.
So I think part of it is that we need to, I think at this point we've seen OCM is not going to help us understand this process. They're not going to help us
Nope.
encounter them. We as community boards need to help each other to become good interlocutors in this discussion. So that's how we can start. But I think just to plan things out, I think we're talking about two different things here. There's that resolution that Reshma was working on. That's sort of, I think, the one that would be better suited for interboard collaboration. And then there's the thing that I brought up that Sandy brought up this today. That's a separate thing with an actual deadline. So I don't know. We just need to separate those two things.
Okay, so if this resolution will be answering the public comment requirement that the OCM is looking at.
Yes, I believe the public comment ends in a few days. So obviously there's not going to be enough time. There's not going to be enough time to pass it at full board. But if the committee were to give it its approval, we could perhaps mock up a letter from Sandy. She could send it, and then a reso could be presented at January's full board to ratify the sentiment. But it's up to you. If you want, I can show you the mock-up of the reso that we put together. But
Let's read it later. Oh. Okay.
I can share that.
Or I can share it if you want. I have it up too.
Are we being asked to vote on this tonight?
Yes, actually. If you have any serious ideas of sending it, yes.
So we're voting on what again?
Well, we'll see.
We're not sure. We're voting.
Oh, yeah, you gotta zoom that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
It might actually be quicker if I just read it to you. It's not terribly long.
Go for it.
Okay. Whereas Manhattan Community Board 6 represents over 155,000 New Yorkers in Manhattan Community District 6, which stretches from 14th Street to 59th Street from east. This is just our district. Whereas Manhattan Community District 6 has seen a proliferation of unlicensed cannabis shops in the last few years. Whereas even with greater enforcement powers now available to city and state authorities, Manhattan Community District 6 continues to be plagued by illegal cannabis shops, which not only harm our communities, but also harms our communities, but also disadvantages the duly licensed retail dispensaries that our districts have. Actually, leave them harms and disadvantages, depending on grammatically which perspective you take. They can both be right, I think.
Yeah.
And next, whereas our office still struggles to secure enforcement actions or even an acknowledgement of our communication when we report offending establishments to OCM, therefore be it resolved that Manhattan Community Board 6 opposes any proposal that would weaken the 1,000-foot distance requirements described in paragraphs blah, blah, blah of subdivision, whatever. Be it further resolved, Manhattan Community Board 6 also opposes the language in the proposed new subdivision, blah, 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 as follows. That's straight from OCM's proposed regulation. Essentially, what we're trying to prevent is them sort of doing a run around the community boards, and we want them to.
Right.
If this thing takes effect, then the community boards need to be notified anew. There seems to be some vague language in there that seems to say, well, if you've notified the community board previously, it's unsure about what, then you don't have to notify them again. So we're trying to prevent that. And if you go further, whereas be it further resolved, Community Board 6 ratifies this letter sent on, I just put that date, but whenever, but I think we have until like Monday or Tuesday to do this if we're going to do it. So that's what it says. It's and then this is just a letter form of the reso you just saw. It's just in letter form. Right. Because we can't send a reso without it being passed. So this is a very specific thing. It's not as broad as the reso that Reshma was working on.
1,000 feet, 4 blocks.
Right. 250.
So if you're comfortable passing this,
Let's take a poll.
What?
Are you comfortable?
I am comfortable.
Michael Ann, are
Yes.
you comfortable?
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Me too.
Yeah.
Trying to do
Go for it.
Is Paige. How about
Paige?
Page.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it. I think it should. I've spoken to Jesus. You told me you were going to have this meeting with the district managers. I've not heard back from you. I mean, I've spoken also to other people. We have to do something about it. We've been sitting here talking and doing nothing. We have to do something.
So Paige, what do you think about this letter/reso?
I just said it was fine.
Okay.
Unanimity.
So it probably would be good to do in a proper vote, though. That a motion, is there a motion to pass?
I motion to support, what is the resolution called? I motion to support the resolution opposing proposed regulations that would weaken the 1,000-foot distance requirements for cannabis retail dispensaries.
I second.
Okay. Vote. Motion's been made and seconded. When I call the name, please answer in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Paige Judge.
In favor.
John Keller.
In favor.
Thank you. Anton Mullen.
In favor.
Thank you. Ann Sullivan.
In favor.
Thank you. Susan Stein.
In favor.
Thank you. Michael Enright.
In favor.
Thank you. With 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, and 0 non-entitled, motion passes.
And I'd like to thank the board office and Jesus and Sandy for pulling this together.
Yeah.
And Reshma for her.
And Reshma for
her one comment.
I think, Jesus, the last draft resolution that Reshma presented at the Budget and Government Affairs Committee, perhaps you could share that with members of this committee, so we are all on the same page.
Yes.
Brian has that one. We put it on a Google Doc just to make it a little easier to work on.
Yeah, I can pull that.
Well, if you can just maybe share.
Yeah.
It's
It's not that long.
But this is the one where I think it may be good to like confer with other boards, and to really, because we really want it to be the definitive list of all the objections that we have to the rules as they're currently written. But one of the things we need to do is we need to be familiar with these rules. CB2 actually complimented us on our Flintstone resolution. And because they noticed it, in fact, because they're having an issue with, I think, Mr. Flynn is trying to get in there as well in their district, and they noticed our reso, and that's why they reached out. They reached out to sort of set the ground for perhaps working together. It hasn't gone really beyond that, but that reso, it took a lot of research, and we pulled out language from it can't just be generalities or frustrations. So they need to be really, really well researched so that we have a real case to make, and then our electeds can then amplify that case.
And who do we think will take this to, I don't know, like, when we think of electives getting behind this? Who do we think?
Well, it would have to be our state electeds. OCM is a state agency, so it would have to be. I mean, I guess our city electeds could always pass a resolution in the city council. You know, that's possible, but it's not a law. But our state electeds would be the prime people that we should advocate to.
I would think Liz, Alex.
Alex,
Alex
Harvey.
Harvey's
I think he would be very amenable.
all
to
over
that,
the illegal
And
one.
Liz is one of the people.
Liz wrote the.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a state agency,
And
so
by
we
the way,
should
she
just go right up to
The
the.
Senate passed an enabling reso.
Tanya has her
immediately
hand
after that.
Tanya has her
We
hand
did-
up.
It got
Yeah.
lost for over a year, which is why, I'll give you the history.
yeah.
It's really.
Tanya, let's go.
Yeah,
Go
hi,
ahead.
and regarding what also Michael Ann brought up, you know, do we need a separate reso to maybe ask for some sort of penalty to landlords who rent spaces to unlicensed operators?
I think.
That's already in city council
Yeah.
law.
It's already in there, okay.
I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my understanding as well.
My colleagues are confirming it.
Oh,
Perfect.
But the
Thank
thing
you.
is, that would be good to know. We want to not rely on, it's my understanding that.
So I was careful to word it though.
We need to become, the OCM is not going to tell us this stuff. We need to become experts at this stuff.
Yeah.
That's the shift in the strategy.
that is so true.
Yeah, I believe Chief Powers. Okay, we can find this.
Yeah.
All right, but let's just stop it there.
Okay,
We can find it.
Mm-hmm.
It's findable.
all right, so we okay on this?
Mhm.
All right,
It's a known unknown.
yeah. Okay, Chair's report. I received email from Sandy talking about introductory bill 0299-2024. And it is a bill under consideration by the Committee on Small Business, which seeks to reduce civil penalties where food service establishments donate leftover food. She says, not sure if it is a bulk issue, as it is the Committee on Small Business, or a health issue, as about food. Would be good to get some more information, as it sounds like a good idea.
So this
So-
is like promoting Too Good to Go and.
Too Good to
stuff
Go
like
is
that.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love
but
it.
the issue is that I'm not in favor of this, I'll tell you right now. So you can violate certain food laws and get out of jail free card if you donate food to charities. You know,
What?
that's
do you-
that's
but-
basically what it's saying.
So,
What? I'm not understanding.
Yeah,
Where this is coming from, like what?
Yeah, reduce civil penalties where food establishments donate food. So give civil penalty for something, I don't know.
If you have rats running around the kitchen.
Right.
no, I don't, but I don't think, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I think that's not the intent of
Yeah.
this.
Then we have to learn more.
What,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
what civil penalties we talking about?
I don't know.
Right.
It's not, and it's not
And
here.
what violations?
Too bad.
I feel like it's one hasn't got anything, it shouldn't have anything to do with the other, in the sense of, why is this being brought up that they would be exempt from civil penalties because they're giving away
Food, or,
food?
yeah, so, or reduced penalties. If the fine is $500 for a civil thing, it's reduced to $100. But I think we need more information.
Yeah,
But, you know, I think it sort of peripherally touches this committee because there's our businesses. And
Right.
we.
well, it
it's a lot of-
also,
yeah.
I have to say, my guess is that Stu would want this to be in public safety. or he would
Mm.
think public safety would have an interest in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me just be
But-
clear, so this is like, if you're giving food away that's just past the sell-by date, for example.
Right.
I'm just trying to
Well,
understand.
if that's what
So
they're
that's-
talking about,
But
that's
there's-
different.
But that's what I'm not clear what they're talking.
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
It says Civil penalties, you know, for
And
what?
are people giving it
Yeah.
away getting a tax deduction?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
well, it's like
Well-
City Harvest, is that,
Right. And then the other thing is that, I don't know, like, yeah, we have to just know what the civil penalties are that they're talking about. Like, it's almost like they're anticipating something that's not there right now, or they know something.
Bird flu in the milk.
Yeah, I get this, there's a lot of confusion here, and I felt the same way.
Yeah,
And so I'll get back to Sam.
I think there's nothing wrong with saying, let's give away more edible, good food to
Mhm.
people who need
Right.
it.
absolutely.
And if someone get a tax deduction by doing that, I don't have a problem with that, but I'm trying to understand exactly. what the
Yeah,
schedule
and
is.
then also, I just feel like
and if
people
they're
that give away
liability
food like that are not,
Liability issues.
they wouldn't be the same person that, I don't know. I just don't understand what the.
Bad food for little kids.
Well, maybe that might be a good idea.
Really?
Okay.
We should on their buffet?
Okay.
I haven't done it, I just got an email
Anyway,
from two
okay,
weeks ago that told me that.
Any other business that you'd like to discuss before we ask for a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Everybody, a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Thank you as well.
Okay, do we have to,
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for letting me speak, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Tanya,
Thanks
and
for all your
for my-
research, that's fun.
And for your thoughts about my little horseshoe crowd.
Oh, I
Okay.
found it. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, they just heard Anne speak. I,
one more thing, seeing no objections, we'll adjourn the meeting at 9.